Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and being a producer of Wrestle Massacre as well as Inside Movies Galore, I am David Streggy, and welcome to Delusions of Grandeur. Enjoy the reviews. I certainly did.
Okay, Dave, that's it. Screw you and your college flunkies. I've had enough of this from you and from everyone else. I know what you guys are trying to do. Break me down, drive me out of the force. Well, it's going to take a hell of a lot more than a lame prank like this to get Curtis Mooney to throw in his badge, so fuck you. Over.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Delusions of Grandeur. I'm your host, David Streggy, and here I have another episode of What's in My Room, which I want to say these are video collection videos, but if I've seen the film before, I'll try to do a small review on them or try to tell you a little bit about them. Well, this first Blu-ray DVD combo set is a little weird because it is of my own making somewhat. So originally someone had actually offered to me a copy of the Metropolitan Edition Haute Definition French DVD, French Blu-ray of Hellfest. So eventually I tracked down someone who was just selling the DVD of Hellfest because I could not play Hellfest on any of my Blu-ray players, but I loved the cover art of this particular edition. So what I did is I found someone online who was just selling the slipcover and the DVD separately, and I made a Blu-ray DVD combo set out of it, and it just works for me. So, yeah. So that is totally different art than whence it originally came with. So, yeah. Hellfest, I don't know. I love the amusement park, the look and the feel of it. It's definitely got a slasher feel to it. I love the kills in it. The only thing is the fact that the killer goes around and stings that or sings that little whatever. Um, that is, I don't know. That's to me, it's not scary. But there was one instance where a guy got pounded into the floor with a mallet, and that was cool. So some of the gore effects were pretty cool. There was a room that had all kinds of heads and faces in it. That was kind of cool. It might have had statues or whatnot, but I think it just had like white faces or whatnot. But in any case, yeah, I wasn't entirely impressed with Hellfest, but I would watch it again, which is why I wanted to pick it up, and I picked it up in a unique way. So I'm glad that I have these particular copies. So moving on to a movie that is independent, and it was directed by Jeremy Westrate, and with the Lavender Handle Collective, um, working with Gatorblade Films. This particular feature is called Franklin: A Sympathy of Pain. And I want to give reference to my review of this film. It was This is the limited edition of this film. So Franklin is a tortured man who seeks asylum in the arms of Mother Earth. His serenity is shattered by two masked maniacs that violently subdue and abduct him. Awakening in captivity, he realizes his bizarre, nightmarish journey has just begun. The demons of one's own mind torment more severely than those spawned in hell. Every day that Franklin awakens, he is confronted by a punishing existence. The seeds of guilt thrive in his soul for transgressions both past and present. Those sins committed not only mutilate his sanity from within, but also manifest physically to harvest the cosmic score that must be settled. That was said by Fernando Peters. The film stars Nicholas Franklin, um, Greg G. Freeman, Slate Counts, Dee Dee Saruga, and Bob Glazier. Yeah, Franklin: A Symphony of Pain was one of my favorite independent films that came out on DVD finally after several re-edits, and it is just phenomenal and mind blowing. I absolutely love it. Next I have Schindler's List. Okay, so I had actually picked this copy up from the downtown bookstore. As you can see, the price of the downtown bookstore is still on it, and I think I picked this up. I picked it up for like $8. Uh, I absolutely love this film for many reasons. For the fact that it is about um, these list of Jewish people that Herr Schindler, played by none other than Liam Neeson, um, wanted to save from the Holocaust, um, and work for his factories, and he saved them from Auschwitz and even from the brink of death in some of the camps. The amount of the amount of courage that it took for him to lay out his life to get these people back that had worked in his factories. And the film was done in black and white, and there was a little girl that walked through the whole thing. Of course, I'm going to spoil it just a little bit. And her dress was in color. So it was very sad, very poignant film, but it was very realistic of the times. And I think it brings home a lot of feelings, and I think it was real emotional to those surviving Jewish Holocaust people, relatives, and the fact that it was directed by Steven Spielberg was phenomenal. I believe that this was another hit of his. It was fairly long, but it was very true to the time period, and I think that it is one of my favorites of the wartime Holocaust films. Um, so this is one of my Criterion Collection. Um, One of the first I'd actually picked up of Ingmar Bergman's, called Scenes from a Marriage, and it's the director-approved special edition um, version. And let's see what this says. So Marion, played by Liv Altman, who is a returning woman in his films, and Johan, played by Erland Josephson, always seem like the perfect couple. But when Johan suddenly leaves Marianne for another woman, they are forced to confront the disintegration of their marriage. Shot in intense, intimate close ups by master cinematographer Sven Nykvist, the film chronicles 10 years of turmoil and love that bind the couple despite their divorce and subsequent marriages. Flawless acting and dialogue portray the brutal pain and uplifting peace accompanying a lifetime of loving. The film was originally conceived as a six-part miniseries for Swedish television. The Criterion Collection is proud to present the 3-hour U.S. Theatrical version, along with, for the first time on video in the U.S., Ingmar's original 5-hour television version of Scenes from a Marriage. So, between 1973 and 1974, the 5-hour one is like 299 minutes. It is in Swedish with English subtitles. So, there we have it. Scenes from a Marriage. And I'll definitely be checking it out eventually down the road. Now, I had actually bought this particular film, and this is number 4 of Tim Ritter's Deadly Dares, Truth or Dare 4, from Brad Twigg. He'd originally gotten a copy of this before it was. This is the underground cut. So I am exceedingly glad that I have this copy. And there is a picture of Tim Ritter that evidently came with the film. And if you don't already know, I've already talked to and um, I've had an interview with this director on the when he did do and direct this film. So I'm glad to have this copy. So, in any case, there we have it. Truth or Dare, Deadly Dares, number 4, the underground cut. So, from what I understand, this alpha video called Mondo Bellardo was originally part of a 2-part set, but this has Mondo Bellardo and Sinister Menace on it. An alpha video is the distribution company from oldies.com, and that is the oldest mail order place to buy movies is from a magazine catalog. So horror icon Boris Karloff wittily narrates Mondo Bellardo, a shocking and depraved Mondo movie that chronicles perversions and abnormalities from around the globe. You will be unable to look away as your eyes fill with shocking images that will burn scars into your retina and render you paralyzed in your seat. Grotesque and exploitive, but also riveting and defiant of taboo, Mondo Bellardo seeks out the most twisted and surprising images. Subjects explored in graphic detail are dwarf love, white female sex slavery, Eastern brothels, black market smuggling, marijuana, lesbianism, needless dog surgery, and the phenomenon of raincoat-clad peeping toms. Experience Mondo Bellardo if you dare. And Sinister Menace, the bonus feature on here, is Dwayne Esper, Marijuana, presents this Egyptian government financed film that explores the smuggling and usage of illegal drugs and the sickening effects it has on the youth. This 15-minute short from the 1930s revels in horrific imagery, footage of Egypt's disease and destitute, sinister menace is a bona fide shock exploitation classic. So there we have it. 2 features, 1 a short film. Moving on. So I don't know why, but this is from Tempe DVD, and this shows a basic how-to of Halloween makeups. This says 20 unique makeups, a simple step-by-step guide. Tempe DVD presents 20 easy-to-apply, unique makeups, all created from materials found around the home and in local costume shops. Professional Hollywood makeup artists introduce you to some of their secrets, explained in easy to understand step-by-step detail. Don't settle for the same old boring Halloween masks. Impress your friends and be the life of any costume party. 20 makeups include zombie, pumpkinhead, lizard, witch, a cat, exorcism victim, vampire, alien, burn victim, Frankenstein's monster, mummy, old man, phantom, creature, gargoyle, robot, swamp creature, evil clown, Dracula, and ghastly ghoul. So was written and directed by Lance Randus, and it is from the Suburban Tempe Company. So J.R. Bookwalter did produce this. Should be an interesting thing to look at one point in time. Now, there are 4 volumes of this, but I could only find the one. And this is Bum Fights, Cause for Concern, Volume 1. Apparently, bum fights is a thing. Guaranteed the most hilariously shocking video you've ever seen. Bum fights will piss on and any other ruckus video ever made. You'll see drunk bums beating each other silly, real street fights caught on tape, sick pranks, chick fights, crackheads, bum stunts, supermodel Angela Taylor, and hands down the rawest, most core ruckus ever filmed. On behalf of In Decline and the Bum Fight crew, we apologize. Because love us or hate us, these images will stay with you for life. Bumfights.com. Evidently, yes, there were originally 4 of these. This is an actual printed video, and evidently it was a rental at one point in time at King Video. So, it says King Video. But whatever. There are 4 volumes of this out there, and I only have the first volume. I have not watched it as of yet. So, according to one of the taglines from the Washington Salem Journal, this particular film says, "What this is Spinal Tap did for heavy metal, Super Guy does for superheroes. Super Guy behind the cape, a real life superhero with real life super problems." What if there was a real superhero? What if he had real human problems? The trials and tribulations of such a man are examined in this hilarious mockumentary about an average superhero in today's world. Through news clips, interviews, commercials, appearances, and file footage, we get a glimpse of Superguy, his personal life, and take a long, hard look at society's reaction to this phenomenon. Imperfect and unable to live up to expectations, unfavorably compared to Superman, and unable to be everywhere and save everybody. Superguy's only true archenemy becomes the American public who wants to crucify him for doing good. In a world that desperately needs to believe in something and look up to someone in a world full of despair, victims, and wackos, Superguy fits right in. This is from Trent Productions, LLC, and it is written and directed by Bill Nye, and this was put out by Razor Digital with Creative Light Entertainment. So, there we have it. Superguy. Behind the Cape. Here I have another Alex Wesley film, and this is called Tumors. Alex Wesley is a director from Russia, and this is not his first film that I have of his, but it is definitely not the last. So we have characters who played in Psycho Cop Returns, Blood-Sucking Freaks, Scarecrows, Violent Shit, Terminator 2. So, the Expendables of horror are back in this blood and guts film. Tumors, a film by Russian master of horror and gore, Alex Wesley, Zombie Infection. All over the world, doctors have been trying to find the biggest tumors to explore. Except these doctors take the tumors and put them on display like a freak show. If you like blood and guts, extreme Russian style, you'll love Tumors. Oh, what a headache. So, starring Alexander Malice, Richard Vidon, Harry Bromley Davenport, Joel M. Reed, and Andreas Schnaas, Todd Vernon, Rod Schweitzer, Victor Merzikov, and Rosella Drudy. And this is from Legless Corpse Media's Legless Corpse Films. If you see the logo there, that is Legless Corpse Films logo. So that is another one from the illustrious Legless Corpse Films. So I have this DVD of Wes Anderson's. This is a Blu-ray DVD combo with a digital copy of Fantastic Mr. Fox. And George Clooney and Meryl Streep lead their voices to this hilarious and heartwarming animated adventure. From visionary director Wes Anderson, Mr. and Mrs. Fox, Clooney and Streep live a happy home life with their eccentric son Ash, played by Jason Schwartzman, and visiting nephew Christopherson. That is until Mr. Fox slips into his sneaky old ways and plots the greatest chicken heist the animal world has ever seen. Based on the beloved best-selling book Roald Dahl, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Fantastic Mr. Fox is family fun at its finest. And I actually watched this. I discussed this film with my group inside Movies Galore, and the humor was a little off to me, but I love the animation style. I feel like I felt like I was watching something from Wallace and Gromit, that kind of style, and that's what I felt I was watching. I didn't feel like I was watching a new animation. I was watching a regurgitated animation style, and I think that this film had a lot of hype at the time because of who starred in it, because Roald Dahl And because a lot of people in the artsy world tend to like Wes Anderson's style, and I fairly enjoyed it for the most part. But essentially, it kind of reminded me of like Chicken Run or something like that. In any case, moving on. So I was part of one of the Kickstarter campaigns of uh, Seth Breedlove, and he is from Small Town Monsters. I have interviewed him before, and I ended up picking up his Volume One collection of his first three documentaries. The first one is called Minerva Monster. The second one, Beast of Whitehall. Third one, Boggy Creek Monster. Um, and for the first time ever, owned the first three Small Monsters films in one complete box set. Small Town Monsters is the award-winning film series that examines unusual creature sightings that occur in rural communities, examining the impact the events have on the culture of the region as well as the lives of those that witness these monsters. This is an in-depth examination of some of the most bizarre incidents in American history. Minerva Monster. In August of 1978, a small town in eastern Ohio was thrust into the spotlight when a local family sighted a Bigfoot in the woods behind their home. Over subsequent evenings, they were repeatedly visited by the creature, culminating in a late night encounter that ended in a local police being called in. The story made headlines across the country. Now learn the true story of an enduring legend. Beast of Whitehall. August 1976. Three boys driving an isolated stretch of road encounter a Bigfoot with glowing red eyes. They report it to local police, who go on to have a sighting of their own. This is the incredible true story of the Aber incident. Beast of Whitehall also explores the impact Bigfoot has had on the regional culture of Adirondacks and upstate New York. Boggy Creek Monster. In 1973, a horror movie called The Legend of Boggy Creek was released, focusing on a series of bizarre events that have took place around the town of Fouke Monster. The film was an instant success, but what was the reality behind the Fouke Monster? Boggy Creek Monster takes you where no film has gone, in search of the truth behind the legend. So, I've watched all three of these. These three were awesome. Now, on eBay, before I bought that triple set, I found this, along with, I believe, three other documentaries, and they're all signed by Seth Breedlove. So this one is signed by Seth, but it is actually directed by Alexander Pedikov, and it's called On the Trail of Champ. But let me read the back of this. On the Trail of Champ chronicles North America's most infamous lake monster, affectionately known as Champ. Centuries of lore, sightings, and mystery surround this creature, as well as the lake it calls home. Shot on location at Lake Champlain, Vermont, New York, USA, On the Trail of Champ dives deep into the rich history of the region in connection with Champ, as well as Champ's cultural impact in many of the rural communities that border the lake. Various eyewitnesses of the creature recall their encounters, including Sandra Mansi, who in 1977 took a photo of the creature, considered by some be the best evidence for any lake monster. Katie Elizabeth of Champ Search, as well as Scott Martis and William Dranginis comprise of research teams using different methods and state-of-the-art technology to document and prove the existence of monsters in Lake Champlain. Their hunt for the creature takes them from the deep waters of the lake to its winding rivers and primeval swamps and marshlands. While definitive proof of Champ is yet to be claimed, the monster has certainly succeeded in captivating the hearts and minds of many people, whether witnesses, researchers, or fascinated locals. These are their stories on the trail of Champ. So there we have it. On the trail of Champ. I did watch this, and I love how these documentaries are very well put together, well documented. So here I have Varias do Sexo Sangrento, Bloody Orgy Orama. And this is from Bohemia's Productions. And it is directed by Peter Bestor. And I do believe that I did try to put disc 1 and disc 2 in, and it seems like disc 1 is disc 2. So, Balhargia, can I please have another copy? Thank you so much. It looks awesome, but yeah. So I ended up picking this particular film up, a film setup, and it's from Mill Creek Entertainment. I love that it's from Mill Creek. And it's got 11 movies on it, and it's the Gamera Legacy Collection from 1965 to 1999. I love Gamera because I love turtles. In fact, I am more impressed with Gamera films than I am with Godzilla films. Although Godzilla, the new one, was pretty awesome. So the first one on here is called Gamera the Giant Monster. It's from 1965. It's in black and white. This was the first entry of this sci-fi epic. Takes place midst the peak of the Cold War. As conflict between the East and West transforms into a nuclear disaster. This atomic explosion releases more than massive radiation. It awakens the ancient and long-forgotten legend of Gamera. Then in 1966, this one is in color. This one is called Gamera versus Barugan. Gamera returns to Earth to save it from the malevolent monster Barugan, who is able to freeze anything in its path. This unholy battle between fire and ice challenges the survival of mankind while bringing them an incredible slam bang knockdown monster slugfest. Next is from 1967. It's called Gamera vs. Gaios. The third entry of this classic monster series features Gaios, Gamera's most legendary foe, Ken the Fire-Spitting Terrapin. Gamera defeat the vampire-like bat before all of the countryside is laid to waste. Next is Gamera vs. Virus. It's from 1968. The reign of terror continues when aliens take two Boy Scouts, hostage to blackmail Gamera into aiding their invasion of Earth. When that plan fails, the giant alien leader, Virus, battles the flying turtle in a duel to the death. And that one I remember specifically because it was geared definitely more towards children at the time. And Gamera has often been portrayed as a guardian of the universe. So, in any case, a good a good monster. Next is from 1969, Gamera versus Giron. Gamera, the giant flying turtle, spins into action when two young boys board a spaceship and are hijacked to a strange planet on the other side of the sun. While the boys evade the clutches of two brain-hungry alien beauties, Gamera must deal with a knife-nosed monster named Guron. Guron. Something like that. But that's a similar story, and I think I remember that too. Another one geared towards children. This one was filmed in 1970. This one is in color. It's called Gamera versus Jiger. The fire-breathing action continues as Gamera battles one of his greatest foes, Jiger, a horned monster reminiscent of Triceratops. Drawn to the World Expo in Osaka by an ancient statue, the evil reptile injects Gamera with its parasitic offering to eliminate the super turtle. Next is from 1971. This one is in color. The shark-like alien Zigra attacks Earth to enslave the human race as food. Aided by spacewoman X1, Zigra's wicked plan goes swimmingly until the invaders are challenged by Gamera and confounded by two troublemaking kids. Two more kids. So that was Gamera versus Zigra. Gamera Super Monster from 1980. So this is like 9 years later, this installment. The final entry of the Showa Gamera series plays as a highlight reel reviving all the previous evil monsters. When the alien Xenon tries to conquer Earth with an army of monsters, three superwomen enlist the help of Gamera to foil the invaders' plans. So, I guess that last film, Super Monster, is kind of like a Destroy All Monsters kind of a film, where we have them recycling footage. They were definitely very cheap. So in 1995, it was the revival of the Gamera series. Gamera, Guardian of the Universe. Gamera is back with a vengeance as he takes on both a misguided military and a trio of hideous man-eating flying monsters. In 1996 was Gamera 2, Attack of Legion. A freak meteor shower brings with it electrical problems, overgrown plant life, and a whole slew of rather irritable critters that drop in to threaten the human race. It's up to Gamera to destroy the bugged out invaders. And of course, then there's Gamera 3, Revenge of Iris, filmed in 1999. The Gallegos have returned along with a new tentacled super monster named Iris. Dr. Nagamine and Asagi Kusanagi are reunited to help Gamera in his relentless quest to stop his enemies from overrunning the Earth. So, there we have it. That is the Gamera Legacy Collection. I would love for them to come out with a Gamera film in this day and age to see how they would create him in this day and age. You know? So I ended up, a while back, picking up Cult Epics number 1772 of 2,300 copies, limited edition, of Pig and 1334. And if you can see the number on there. Why God Permits Evil, Pig and 1334. This is a Blu-ray and DVD of Pig. So Pig from 1998, a film depicting the relationship between a killer and his victim where all lines are crossed blending fantasy and reality in a transformation of subconscious mind of a killer, graphically showing the manifestation of itself into abstract forms and material, all deriving from his suffering and desperation. And 1334 from 2011, a ghost story that reveals the haunting disturbances that began to plague the ones left behind. Following the completion of Pig and the death of R.W., where reality turns into darkness with the effect upon no return. Pig and 1334 are directed by Nico B. are an exploration of the subconscious through underground filmmaking. Pig was the last project of Ross Williams, who died 4/1/1998, formerly known from the rock group Christian Death, among others. R.W. spoke of the film as a form of exorcism and transition of his personal demons. 1334 was inspired by true occurrences. So, yeah, I ended up picking that up not too long ago, and I'm just going to go on about these next two, and then I'll stop for the next video. So this is the third disc that came with the original Amityville 3-pack, and yeah, this is called Amityville Confidential, Amityville, New York Classified. The reason why I have this disc separately is the original trilogy had this disc, and I found it separately. What really happened? I've got Exhibit A. These were both on the History Channel. Amityville: The Haunting, Amityville Horror or Hoax, and On Location, The Amityville. It was the first look at the theatrical remake of the Amityville horror. So, very interesting. Little documentaries. Whether people think that it was a hoax or whether it was fake. So, here I have a film directed by Rudy Belafonte from Warlock Pictures, which I do believe that this was in fact directed by Chris Sieber. But I do believe he was going for that 80s film, and it says that this film was banned in 11 countries. The most graphic and intense film of all time. This was the 25th anniversary edition. It includes hits from Cube 2 and Ready Kill. But anyways, Halloween 1986. The kids of Sleepy Hollow High are about to have a very unexpected visitor during their annual trick-or-treating adventures. Around the town, the evil pumpkin-headed killer, Jack, is back to steal the souls of the children who happen to be the ancestors of the ones that sent Jack to the pits of hell in the 1800s. Miranda, played by Susan Wanderlich, along with her best friends, uncover the true story of what happened to Jack and take it upon themselves to destroy the demon once and for all. State-of-the-art special effects by Dark Magic FX, and a now hip scoring featuring Cube Squared and Radical. If will have you pulling the classic out year after year during the spooky season. Don't go kicking the pumpkin, kids, because this evil will have you screaming to death. 1986. Once again, even though this was put out on disc in 2011, is Death O' Lantern. I don't know if you can see it. Put it a little closer. That's Warlock for you. All right, so a while back, there was the director by the name of Darren Means was selling his 2-disc feature of Gnawbone. And it is signed. This is the Kickstarter edition of Gnawbone. I love the music behind this. I really want the soundtrack for this. And so sometimes the things you fear are in your head, and sometimes they're in the woods. While on a camping trip, a boy named Tommy witnesses something take the life of his grandfather. Tommy believes it was a monster, but everyone else thinks the traumatic event created a false memory. Uh, a psychiatrist wants the now 21-year-old Tommy to face his fears by going back to the woods, where it all started. With the help of old friends, he might finally be able to process the memories and come to terms with what scared with that scared little boy. Or are his memories actually the truth? You guessed it, mayhem ensues. Um, Filmed in southern Indiana, Gnawbone is a monster movie throwback to classic 80s horror that uses practical effects, family horror tropes, and an indie spirit that true fans hold dear to their hearts. I would have to say I agree with the music. Definitely. I mean, I liked the creature that was involved with this film. In any case, thank you for listening. Hopefully, you enjoyed me describing these films when I've actually seen them. I do and will eventually watch many of these films. I'm just constantly collecting, and it's hard to keep track of all of them. Which is why I'm chronicling them down in these videos. So thank you so much for coming on to my channel, and I'll have some more exciting videos for you in the near future. Thank you so much. Have a great day, evening, or morning, wherever you are. Appreciate your time. Thanks so much.
You were good, kid, real good. But as long as I'm around, you'll always be second best, see?